Greetings fellow Whovians and welcome to Timey Wimey Review, where today I do my first ever audio review in the form of the Big Finish production story Terra Firma, originally released in August 2005. But first, this video is dedicated to John Challis, who sadly passed away on September the 19th, 2021. Most famous for his role as Boise in Only Fools and Horses and Green Green Grass, but also had a great memorable performance as Scorby in the Fourth Doctor story, The Seeds of Doom. He will be sadly missed, and thoughts and prayers and hearts go out to all the family and friends. There will be a tribute video of The Seeds of Doom coming out on Timey Wimey Review in the next few weeks. Just in case you don't know the plot, having returned from the Divergent universe, the 8th Doctor, Keris and Charlie find themselves in a spot of trouble by landing on the new Dalek homeworld where Davros has created a new race of Daleks. Now, I'm a complete novice when it comes to the Big Finish audio adventures, and I think I'll be kicking myself, to be honest, because I haven't really explored that many. I've listened to a few stories like Juggernaut and Conversion, but I know that there is a huge other Doctor Who world there that is just waiting for me. And do forgive me if I skip some of the story arcs that are starting to proceed in Terra Firma. I'm just going to be focusing mainly on the story aspect rather than the story arcs or what's been happening preceding this adventure. But what I do like about this story straight away is just the atmosphere that they've created just through audio. I love hearing the pulsating sound of the Dalek control room, and I also like that they had some of the sound effects from the Doctor Who movies, from the Peter Cushing movies. Loved hearing them again, as you know, sort of bringing him into a bit of a canon, if you were. The one thing I do have to say is a massive thank you for Big Finish for not only bringing stories from previous Doctors and companions and even minor characters like Django and Lightfoot, but to start it all off, having the 8th Doctor back, having more 8th Doctor adventures than rather just the TV movie that we had in the 90s. So it was great, and to be fair, great for Paul McGann to come back, reprise his role as the 8th Doctor, and just share these great adventures, because there is so much more to explore with the 8th Doctor, and Paul McGann has done a fantastic job. Really enjoyed his performance here. I like the sort of light-heartedness of the Doctor. There was quite a few bits of humour being thrown in there, especially in the first couple of episodes, or even just the first sort of episode, really, with Charlie and Keris. And then towards the end of the story, it got a bit more sort of darker, a bit more sinister. And yeah, Paul McGann just pulls it off brilliantly here. But I have to admit that Terry Molloy as Davros stole the show in Terra Firma. He is, if not one of the top sort of Davroses, really, throughout the audio and TV shows. Definitely in the mix with Michael Wisher and Julian Bleach. And you just forget how good Terry Molloy was as Davros. And most of his portrayal was just mainly his voice rather than the electronic sort of audio or the microphone that they do. So obviously you get that element of Dalek in his voice, but the range that he had in performing Davros, I remember sort of watching a making of documentary, and he was just doing the impressions, and most of it is his voice rather than just electronic sort of background noise for that to elevate Davros's voice. And yeah, he's brilliant, absolutely amazing, and he's very good at doing the sort of the low level calmness to the absolute manic Davros that we do get in this story, because he's kind of this story that I didn't really mention in the plot is Davros is kind of losing his mind at this point. He is turning more into a Dalek, and if anything, the Emperor Dalek, than there is Davros. You know, his soul, if anything, is slipping away. He's becoming more and more like a Dalek. And Terry Molloy, again, did a brilliant job here. I was also impressed with India Fisher as Charlie, the Doctor's companion. Did like Keris as well, but India Fisher, I was just impressed with a little bit more, maybe because I think the character had a little bit more to do than Keris in this story, to be fair. But yeah, looking forward to listening to more audio adventures with those companions. I also liked that this story was doing a bit of a Davros connections, really, in terms of the classic Doctor Who era, sort of bridging the gap between the classic Doctor Who TV show and the Eighth Doctor audio adventures. This is pretty much a sequel to Remembrance of the Daleks, and just to see what happened to Davros at the end of that, with Skara being wiped out and pretty much the Imperial Daleks and the Renegade Daleks are no more. It's now just Davros's new race of Daleks ready to plague the universe. And I also like there was a bit of I would say some foreshadowing, maybe sort of accidentally really, in terms of the Time War, with it just being this sort of group of Daleks. Now, probably when Big Finish was writing this and sort of setting things up, I think it was going to be another sort of new civil war, if anything. But it was just sort of nice to sort of, now that time has passed and everything that we've learned from new Doctor Who, that you can kind of sort of throw those stories into the mix. This story also takes some dark turns for the Doctor. Pretty much you can see where some of the inspiration has come from for Russell T Davies in terms of how modern Doctor Who has portrayed the Daleks, really. Just sort of like the Doctor's soul being revealed. It kind of reminded me a bit like that in this story to Journey's End. And what Davros sort of does to the Doctor, and how he's been sort of planning this in the form of what happened to companions Samson and Gemma. Yeah, it's pretty dark stuff going on there, and I liked how it was pretty much like an eye for an eye type of thing. You've done this to me, so I'm going to take my revenge on you, Doctor. I quite like that, and the Doctor getting a lot more angrier and sort of sinister, but not losing full his own sort of portrayals and what's right and what's good in the universe. I'm going to give Terra Firma a TARDIS rating of 7 out of 10. Now, just getting the feeling for the audio adventures, I don't think it's probably the best one out there, but in terms of 8th Doctor and Davros, this is why I rank this story quite highly, mainly just from Terry Malloy's performance alone. But I also liked some of the humour elements in there, and it got more sinister and a lot more sort of darker towards the end of the episode. And I also liked that the Daleks were still being Daleks. It still was, I think it was a bit of more of a fairer balance, like they did with Remembrance of the Daleks. It wasn't just a full-on Davros show. We still had the Daleks plotting and scheming in terms of who should be their new emperor. My one negative for Terra Firma is I felt that the ending to episode 4 was a bit rushed. I thought that the first 2 episodes were the strongest part of the story, but it has opened my eyes a bit more to the world of audio adventures through Big Finish. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Terra Firma, and let me know what's your favourite audio adventure, whether it's from the 8th Doctor era or any of the Doctor's era. I am fascinated and eager to know where best to start my audio adventure through Big Finish. Show some love for Big Finish. I will put a link in the description below. You can still get this digital copy at the very least on Big Finish Audio Studios website. And yeah, let's show some love for Big Finish Audios. Next time on Timey Wimey Review, to celebrate Billie Piper's birthday, I will be reviewing the first episode from Modern Doctor Who, Rose. Until then, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this review. Please like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. And as the good doctor once said, nothing ventured, nothing gained.